Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Geraldine O'Reilly and I work at Clio as our UK Regional Marketing Manager. I'm delighted to be bringing you today's event. This is our 11th instalment and final instalment of our year-long Making of a Law Firm series. We've been running this series throughout 2021 and it follows 4 law firm leaders who are all on the road to building new and successful UK law firms, all 4 having been established in 2020. The series was and is intended as a support forum for new firms, firm owners, those thinking of taking the leap and starting their own law firm or legal business. And we've also invited subject matter experts along throughout the journey, and I'm glad to see some of them are on the line this morning as well. So today we are celebrating just how far our 4 leaders have come over the past year and the lessons learned. It also happens to coincide with the festive period, so there's lots of glitz and glam going on in case you haven't noticed. And throughout the year, we've been using the hashtag Making a Law Firm on social media to show support for the series and our leaders who are all kindly taking time out of running very busy startups to come and share their experiences with the wider community. So they really do deserve a thank you along the way and a congrats as well. So this morning, we have all 4 of our leaders rejoining us. The last time they were all together for this series was back in February, can you believe it, when we kicked it off. As a reminder to some of you who haven't been on the series before or haven't joined our events, I'll go through a little bit of a brief intro to each of our leaders so you can all become familiar with them. So first up, we have Kim Cross, a solicitor who initially qualified in Australia and moved to the UK in 2009. Along with co-founders Melinda Smith and Kath Collins, Kim started Fine Law in 2020 with the mission to build a firm that focuses on providing exceptional client service and is also a great place to work. Elena Manookian, partner and founder of the Injury Solicitor, joins us as well. So in 2020, after seeing that legal services could be delivered from almost anywhere, Elena decided to launch her own firm, specializing in personal injury law. And being a small firm, Elena is able to offer a client's personalized service, which you simply don't get from larger UK law firms. We've also got Natalie Foster. So Natalie co-founded Foster Clay Law in 2020 with the vision to have a friendly, forward-thinking law firm that provides excellent professional service to individuals and businesses, both locally and nationally. Natalie saw a gap in the market for a firm offering digital legal services. And we also have Alistair Wells. So Alistair is founder of 10 Legal and is an experienced commercial solicitor. He co-founded 10 Legal with his wife, Shona, in 2020 with the aim of finding a better way to deliver amazing legal services to startups and SMEs. Alistair is known for his approachable manner, zen-like calm, and clear commercial legal advice. So welcome back, everybody. Thank you for coming back and joining us today and joining in the celebrations. Before we get into it today, I do want to cover off on a couple of things. So today's session will be 60 minutes. And due to end at around 12 noon. It will be recorded and sent out tomorrow, so the recording is on there, so if you do have to pop off, we'll get you that recording tomorrow. We want lots of Q&A and commentary, so I already see the commentary going live in the chat, so that's great to see. So if you do have questions, comments, please do let us know in the chat. You can select everyone in the drop down, so everyone on the call, including attendees, will see your comments, or you can pop a note as well into the Q&A box just for panelists. If you can as well include who your question is for, that is always helpful. As mentioned, I work at Clio, and Clio is on a mission to transform the legal experience for all, and this series is really part of that mission. Being the market leader in legal technology means that we have an added responsibility to set the tone for the next generation and to help ensure that technology shaping legal experiences is also serving the greater good. We identified around this time last year, with all that was going on between being in and out of lockdowns, not being able to meet up in person, that the startup firms and firm owners, as well as many that have been in the game for a while, were struggling to find the support they needed for the business side of running their firm. So we established the Making of a Law Firm series. So I'm going to stop talking for a little while, and I'm going to give each of our leaders a few moments to really summarize their journey over the past year and they each have some visual aids to help them tell their story. So I'm going to come to Kim first. Kim, if you're ready,
morning.
tell us a little bit about what we're seeing on our slides this morning.
Yeah, so I just wanted, so I've started here on the left. You can see there's a picture of me and my co-partner Melinda Smith. That was on our first day, and I've had people talk before about starting a business from a kitchen table, but you never really can imagine what the reality of that is like. But there we are, we did it. And it's not as difficult as it seems. I think we were very lucky to have a lot of support before we got to this point. With funding, we got support with getting SRA regulation, and setting up bank accounts, all of that sort of stuff. There was a lot of people in the background who were really, really supportive. And one of the main things that I was surprised about is how much people are willing to help you, and how excited other people are when you set up a business. So that's what it came to on that day, sitting there freaking out as well, I have to say, because the reality hit home that now we were going to have to go ahead with it, and it's a bit confronting actually, and I'm not going to lie. There was a moment there when I looked at Melinda and was like, what are we doing? I'm sure everybody had exactly the same feeling, but you just sit there and you just start doing it, and then you realize, actually, I'm a lawyer. Everything, that all my skills and my education is all there. You know, what do I need? I need a phone, I need an email, you know, and then you start to build from there. So it's one step by one step. And then you can see the photo in the middle, that's our reception. So the fun thing I think about setting up a firm now is that you can make it look how you like. We have other meeting rooms, and I probably could have shared other pictures, but the nice thing I think about us is just having this relaxed feeling there. So, you know, there's no corporate furniture, we don't have any of that stuff. We've got sofas and wooden tables and that sort of feel, so it's really nice. I have a picture of Lego people there, which might seem a bit odd, but one of the things that we just started doing on social media, I can't even remember how it came about, is we just started using these Lego figures just to grab attention, and it just became part of Vine, really. And I think it's a way to engage with people, and it's just a really fun thing that we'd never planned, but it's become a real fun part of the way that we are, and you know, I think it shows that we're real people and that we have sense of humor. And then in the front there you can see my colleagues. So this is the Vine crew, and I'm just so pleased to be working with them all. We've gone from the 2 of us on the first day to 5 now, and it's just a happy little family, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
That's amazing, Kim. You're real life Lego people.
Yeah.
Next step is you can get those little Lego representatives for each of them.
I know. I think it came about because you know how a lot of people on social media now use like cartoon figures and stuff, or they have like an animal that goes with their brand or something like that. We tried to do all that, but it was really difficult. And without having a budget to hire sort of a cartoonist, someone just one of us just did I think it was Melinda actually, just did something with Yoda coming out of a bush, and it all just came from there, and we thought, should we do it? Yeah, we shall. And it's just been good.
Brilliant. Okay, I'm going to come to Natalie next. Natalie, can you talk us through your slide on your year? Oh, Natalie, are you frozen? Or you're muted? Oh, there you go.
Hi, I can if I can unmute.
There you go.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, I got a bit happy with the pictures. I was looking through and I was like, that was important. And all of a sudden we had an album. So thanks to Geraldine for putting it in a reasonable format that's easy to follow. obviously, like Kim, like probably most of us, I started work with the firm, launching the firm and planning the firm on a laptop in lockdown number 1, so slightly more than 12 months ago. But yeah, it's amazing what you can achieve with a laptop, a mobile phone and a business plan, really. The picture at the bottom in the middle, there's 3 people in it, not the one where Megan, our accounts manager, is drinking a cocktail, but the one in the middle, that's Nathan, my co-director. He's been incredible support. He's Culp and Coffee for the firm. He's litigator for over 20 years and really well versed with the court system. So he brought to the table elements of legal practice that I wasn't as strong in. And together with the business plan that we had, it's gone from strength to strength. I think probably the starting point is we always knew we wanted a HQ, because our model is slightly different than that of a sole practitioner or of a completely remote firm. We really wanted the best of both worlds. And even though everybody was remote working, I think in some instances it really highlighted what the office environment can bring to a team. And I know there's been arguments for and against, but we thought, well, do you know what? Let's do both, and let's leave the choice to the staff, and every single person that can likes to come to work. So we're really pleased about that. But this is us. So this building here, 32 Queen Street on the North Yorkshire coast. It looks very sunny there, sunny Scarborough, but it is not sunny today. Yeah, if we go to the first picture, this is Nathan and I viewing the property before. It's still only used at half capacity. There's so much scope for expansion with the right people in the right places. So we're very much focused on that for 2022. The next picture is me being really vain and being actually really pleased that I'm not in pajamas, because that was the first socially distanced meeting I had after COVID-19, and it was a bit of a landmark. Like, I've got non-pajamas on, this is great. So that was great. Moving to the middle picture, that's my dad. You talk about support. He painted the whole building, look at the size of it, in readiness for us moving in, free of charge, while being at work. He did till 1 a.m. some mornings, and he'd come back at 7 a.m. and do a couple of hours before the girls were in, just so it was in a really lovely state for our staff. And we got the boardroom all ready. There isn't a photo there, but it was just very important that the environment was welcoming. Like Kim said, it's quite a relaxed atmosphere. And that was so very important to us, or to me. Nathan used to take the mickey out of me and say, you know, you're going to go and buy some more cushions or buy some more blinds, but he's quite happy because it's Leeds United colours. So we made a compromise on that. These 2 little people on the end, this is real life. We all have many plates to juggle. These are my world. This is Lenny and Ruby. So they're 11 and 8. This is our staff room. And 3 nights out of 5, because I work from the office most days, that's my choice, they have their tea in the office in the staff room. And there's lots of pictures, and they like to attempt making cups of tea and coffee for the team. I say attempt because half the time people are polite, pretending to drink it. But this is what all this is for. It's for them. And you know, that's my driver when things get tough or hard. And we do have fantastic family, extended family around us. Going down to the bottom, the t-shirt, we supported Scarborough Athletic Football Club, which was really lovely. I mean, by no means are we televised as a football club. We're not in that situation, but you know, this is really, it was fundamental. It was like grassroots, you know, this is where it all begins. And we were able to support football teams in the same position as what we were in. So it's like giving back. We then, you know, various people reached out, yourself being one. Obviously, my very good friends with Eleanor. You know, it's been lovely to meet Kim, Alistair, all due to this Making of a Law series. It's been like a really lovely thread of support through everything, where we've been very honest, quite vulnerable at times. And one of the things that I did was provided with a copy of the Client-Centered Law Firm, which absolutely fantastic book, one of a few that have been really key for me. Another milestone was seeing our advert in our regional paper. I remember walking into a garage to get petrol, and my face was stuck on the banner at the bottom of this paper. And obviously, you know, it was just a bit, okay, this is real, this is happening. As time went on, we recruited, the work grew. We've got conveyancers, these 3 here. So there's me at the front there. This was a staff situation when we were allowed to go into somewhere without our masks on. Megan in the middle is our accounts manager. I've worked with Megan at 3 separate places of work, and she is, as a personality, an absolute rock, just hugely supportive and very accommodating, and just truly believes in our vision and what we're capable of doing. The one with her mouth open is Nikita. She's our conveyancing executive. Fantastic. So then it brings us to this final one, which is a review. Our reviews, our client feedback, which is most important. That's our true measure of success. You know, the numbers can point in the right way, and everyone can have the right environment, but the true measure of success is our clients being happy, and there's no feeling like it. So that's what the last year has been in a not 3-minute nutshell. Sorry, Geraldine.
No, that's just amazing to see. Just like, this is just a summary of some of the key highlights, and yeah, it's amazing to see the amount of work that goes into it all. And yeah, I think what really shines out of your story is kind of that grassroots feel as well, and that you're a proud Scarborough firm and business as well. It's fantastic to see.
I think just the final point as well is, with the help of Clio and having the cloud-based, you know, outlook on practice. Yes, we are Scarborough based, but we could be in Timbuktu. We've got a UK network, like all of us have, and that's what we've been open-minded enough to allow ourselves to think like that, and it's been invaluable.
Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to quickly jump on to Elena's story. Elena, could you tell us a little bit more about what we're seeing?
Of course, it might be a little bit shorter than Natalie's, because I don't feel like I've done or achieved anywhere near as much as she has. But Natalie, obviously, I've been to Natalie's office. It's beautiful. We holiday in Scarborough every year. You didn't mention Eric, which I'm really upset about. She has the most gorgeous puppy in the office. But anyway, so my name's Eleanor, and the first picture is actually was taken on the 1st of December 2020. So when most people were opening the first little bit of their advent calendar, I decided to open a law firm, which now looking back to it, this year has absolutely flown by. You can see like where I probably haven't had as many haircuts as I should have had, because my hair has doubled in length to where the last picture was taken just last week. I started my business, I launched it, and we were still in full lockdown at the time, and we were for at least 3 or 4 months towards Easter last year. So I spent a good part of my first year in lockdown, and I still remember asking this cake maker to make me a cake to celebrate the launch of my business. And I said to her, these are my colors that matches my logo, which is like a terracotta color. I said, right, I'm a personal injury solicitor, can you make me some a cake that features figurines of what I'll be doing, which is dealing with road traffic accidents, cycling, bike accidents, all that good stuff. So she created this cake, which she must have thought was for a birthday for a 5-year-old, but it was red velvet inside. It was a lovely cake, and I remember driving it around and giving slices to friends and family because I couldn't eat all of it. But we couldn't meet up in your traditional sort of sense and celebrate the launch of the business. So that was day one, slightly more festive in that picture as well with my jumper, as opposed to today. Picture 2 is my home office. So I absolutely loved working from home when the pandemic sort of first hit and we were all sent to work from home. I didn't really think that I would enjoy it as much as I did, but I couldn't have thought of anything worse than going back to the office full time. So what I did is I invested in quite a nice desk and just made my home office exactly how I would want it to be. It's exactly where I am today. It's where I love working. The plan for year 2 is to get an office space, and I have got somewhere earmarked, which is an old church that's being converted into some offices nearby. So that's quite exciting. That will be ready around Easter. Final picture is when the firm, or when the business turned 1, which was last Wednesday. And I was down in London and I just thought I need to get one of those balloons. I need the one balloon so I can take a picture and put it on my Instagram. I got back to the hotel because I was in London at the time for the LinkedIn Christmas party, and I realized that actually I didn't have any helium, so I had to blow it up and then get a piece of string and have it tied up. So it is actually tied up on top of that bird cage, and I had to ask a bartender to kindly take some pictures of me before I went and joined the LinkedIn Christmas party, which was a lot of fun. I wanted to actually just pick up on a question that popped up in the chat about getting work and getting sources of work, because that was my biggest struggle as a personal injury solicitor. And I say social media has been the key to that. LinkedIn has been incredibly vital to getting new clients. But my journey has been, slightly more straightforward in that it is still just me at the moment. I outsource a few things. If any of you follow me on LinkedIn, then you'll know I'm actually taking a break from accepting new instructions because it's just me and it can be incredibly overwhelming. And until I find a time to recruit someone, it's quite an important, scary step to take. But if anybody had told me that I would be making that decision this time last year, I'd have called you crazy. But then the year before that, if somebody had said, oh, you'd have a firm, I would have called them crazy as well. I never set out to have a firm. I never really set out to even have my own business. But the pandemic really made me reevaluate where I wanted to go with my life and my career. And I think it was the best decision I've ever made, regardless of where the business goes from here. The last year has been probably the best year of my life so far. And that's my story.
That's amazing, Elena, and it's just incredible to see how much you've done alone, running your own firm. I know you haven't done it alone in that you've had lots of help and support and everything, but you're the founder of the business, and
I do just actually really want to say thank you to you, Geraldine, and to Cleo, because when you get a piece of software for your business, the last thing you expect is to actually have a relationship with that company, which has been, priceless in so many ways, not only because of this Making of a Law Firm series that we've done for a whole year, but actually everything outside of that, and how Cleo actually enables you to work. Because I was down in London where that last picture was taken, and I took my laptop and I could connect and I could do a bit of work. I didn't have to fall behind. I didn't have to worry about my emails or what was in my task list. The app on your phone, it makes running a virtual law firm, which is what I effectively am, possible, which would never have been possible had I been using the case management systems that I would previously been working on. So I think actually what Cleo has done is allowed me to have a business and to run it in the way that I wanted to. So I wanted to really just say thank you, because I think, you guys have been a huge support in this last year.
That's wonderful to hear. And honestly, it's the highlight of my month, every month, meeting up with you and going through everything.
What are we gonna do?
And yeah, it's just, and ties back to our mission, which is transforming the legal experience for all. So hearing these inspirational stories and what you're doing with the technology is just incredible, and it just hits it home for us as a company as well. So I'm going to go to Alistair, last but definitely not least. Alistair, can you take us through your slides? Or your slide and your photos.
Yes. Hi everyone. So I suppose my story probably echoes quite a lot of what others have said. I was in a firm. I was a partner of a firm in South London, and the pandemic came along and suddenly everything changed. And this was not something that was on my radar at all, starting a law firm. If you told me at the beginning of 2020 that this is where it would be by the end of 2020, then I would have, as same as Eleanor says, I wouldn't have believed you at all. But I think it was a difficult time, but also it was that opportunity to sort of reevaluate how you're living and working and the whole thing. And so we set up the firm. I set up the firm with my wife Shona, who is in the first picture on the left. Well, quite a lot of those pictures actually, but the picture on the left is our first day. It was the 1st of December 2020. I'd finished at my old firm on the Friday. We'd had a day to kind of get as ready as we could, and then 1st of December we started trading. So that's us in the morning. We just put up the website and our LinkedIn posts and things like that. And it was that feeling of in some ways we just felt like massive frauds, in that it was just me and Shona just sat in our house with our laptops, and we somehow started a law firm, which it's incredible, but that is actually all you need. You know, obviously there's a fair amount that goes into that preparation. You need to be authorized by the SRA, you need to have got insurance and your software and everything, but essentially it can be quite basic once you've got those essentials in place. And yeah, I mean, as a you see there's a photo of my family. So we have 3 children who so there's Charlotte, Emmeline and Stan, who are aged, I'm going to get this wrong, no I'm not, 11, 9 and 4. And they were a big reason for us doing it in the first place. I think one of the things I realized with lockdown was that you know, I hadn't actually been around that much during the week. For them, I didn't work crazy hours, but I would leave my house at about 8 and I'd be back around 7, half 6, 7 most nights. So you miss a big chunk of their day. I mean, particularly when they're small. And so one of the big things that we wanted to do was work in a way that allowed us to be good parents as well. And I'm not sure we've always hit that target. There's been at least one missed parents' evening, which we accidentally forgot about. But other than that, you know, for me anyway, although I've probably been working harder than ever before, I've actually spent more time with my wife and my family than ever before, which is great. And it's that, you know, I don't think there is a work-life balance when you're starting a firm. But you know, I'm going to trot out that phrase again, work-life harmony, because it feels like, to me, you know, if you can find a way of working that kind of fits in with the rest of your life, then that's a win. So so other photos, I mean, there's 2 photos. There's Hannah is on the right there. She joined us as a paralegal. She was only with us for a few months in the end because she got another position, but she was our first hire, which felt like a big step, and it was great to have someone else on board. It suddenly made it feel like, oh, this is a real firm now. And although we only met her in person on her last day, actually, when I went and met her for lunch and picked up her laptop, but it proved to us that you can work remotely, you can supervise people remotely. It's all very doable. And again, you know, that's where something like Clio that does come into its own. You have everything stored in the cloud. There are ways of kind of supervising and checking what people are doing if you need to. And the other photo, so Neelam is second from the left on the bottom line, and she is our trainee who joined us in August, and that was really exciting as well. I mean, to take on a trainee was just felt like a big step, but it felt like a really exciting thing from our perspective, but also to be able to kind of, you know, help somebody else qualify and follow their path was exciting. And one thing about, I think, that whole process of recruiting was that it really confirmed to us that there is an interest in what we're doing, that people get what we're trying to do, the whole kind of a less formal approach to law, and some of the candidates, we were really surprised by the number and the quality of the candidates that actually applied for those roles. And just which is partly a numbers thing, you know, there are a lot of people looking for paralegal and training contract jobs, but you know, there were some that were really, I would never have, you know, they had far better grades than me, better experience, and I would never have dreamed that they would be interested in working for us. So it was great. And you know, Neelam is someone who she definitely shares our vision for the firm, and it's really exciting to work with. She's had this whole other career in legal tech, and so we're learning a lot as well, which is great. The other photos, I'm not going to take you through all of them. The one with the microphone, I think that was on I did a podcast, and it was lots of these things like this webinar. I've done a couple of podcasts, and they're things that I would never have imagined myself doing, and probably a little bit, quite a lot actually, outside my comfort zone. So it's been a real, in some ways it's been a challenge, in other ways it's been really exciting to kind of do all these new things and meet new people, and you know, I suppose communicate with people in a way that I've never had to do before. And one thing, I suppose, when we set up the firm, that was one of our things, that we kind of had this idea, or a hypothesis, I suppose, that if we were really honest about who we are and who we want to work for and how we present ourselves, and then are brave enough to kind of be noticed and actually stand out, then we will find the people that want to work with us. And that has proved really true, I think, over the year. It's been, you know, it has been, I think particularly it's been difficult at times, where there have been moments when I've wondered, is this the right thing to do? And I know before we launched, I remember waking up in the night and thinking, you know, I'm wearing jeans and a t-shirt on our website. Is that the right thing to do? And really actually worrying about that, and whether people just laugh at it. But they haven't, to our faces anyway. So we're kind of, and we have found, we found that we are reaching the people we want to reach. And we're kind of, particularly in the last few months, we found actually we've had interest from some really exciting kind of tech and creative businesses, which exactly, you know, they really get what we're doing. They're not seeing too many other people in the market that are doing it the same way. And so that's been really exciting as well. There's a couple of photos there of me and Shona. They're not exactly work meetings. They were, I think, one's in a pub and one's in central London. There seems to be beer involved, but I suppose that's partly the thing with this year, is that everything has been sort of mashed together. You know, we're a husband and wife who are working together at home. We are, you know, we've got kids, we've got a business, and it's this blur of everything, which is great. It does, you know, it does have its challenges as well, and I think we're sort of learning how we make it work, in terms of all the separate things we've got to look after. But there have been some really great times where we just, I think the one in the pub on the bottom right was the day the pubs opened after one of the lockdowns, and we were just like, should we just go to the pub for lunch? And it was just so nice to kind of sit there, and we may have talked about the business a bit, but you know, it's those moments where you kind of sit there and you think, it sinks in, you realize we just started a law firm, and it's those moments that get really exciting. And our first birthday was another of those moments where you kind of, it dawns on you what you've done, and you know, how that's been a year. But it's been a really exciting process. There's been loads of people that have helped us along the way, and you know, this webinar has been fantastic. So again, thank you, Geraldine, and everyone at Clio. It's been a really good way of kind of reaching people who are interested in what we're doing, but also meeting kind of like-minded people in the same situation. We have a WhatsApp group of the four founders and Geraldine, which is great. There's a lot of support there, and some quite funny posts as well, which probably wouldn't share on here, but yeah, thank you to all of you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Alistair. And I just wanted to, you mentioned there you were a bit worried about how your photos would have come across. I just want to point out you're wearing a Santa hat right now.
Yeah, I've lost all inhibitions basically. I don't care anymore.
But I think that's just the point. It's the confidence that grows in you as from those early days, and now you're a year out and you're just so much more confident, and definitely seeing that across all four leaders. And I'm just meeting you on a monthly basis. So it's just fantastic to see that confidence growth. The chat has been really on fire, I would say, in a good sense. Lots of questions, comments, a lot of people just really inspired by stories. We've loads of questions coming in, so I'm going to get into some of the questions now. I know you've been open at kind of answering them as well, but to highlight some of them, I think one theme that's kind of coming up in the chat is that idea, or the kind of those initial stages and the amount of support that's needed. So from potentially outsourcing to getting other people to help. But one of the questions was, what's the best advice you can give about getting started from the business plan stage of a startup? And I'm wondering who would be best actually to answer that question. Elena, I might come to you on that one.
Yeah, so the actual business plan itself, do you mean like the document that
yeah.
Okay, so you've just, so there are templates, so you would generally I got my template or a guide from my PII broker, who actually sent me a document, because they will be the ones that deal with so many startups, and you're not going to be the first person that's ever contacting them without a business plan. And you can just say, you know, what do you need, because that's the first thing you need, your PII quote. Without that, you're not going to get very far with the SRA. So they will actually send you like a document, or mine did, setting out the different sort of topics they want you to cover in your plan, and then you can just go off and do it. Mine was like 5 pages long, and some of that was graphs, so it wasn't that detailed. But obviously my business plan was quite straightforward. I was only going to be doing one area of law, and they cover quite basic things. And even though I've never looked at it again, at the time, it really made me think about the business. It asks questions like, how are you going to market it? Where are you going to get your clients from? What's your budget? Do a cash flow forecast, because without that, you're actually going into it quite blind. And as solicitors, we're much better than that. We're very well prepared. So it's approaching that in the same way that you'd maybe approach a legal problem, and have quite a structured plan to it. And everybody knows that it's only a rough guide. Businesses often don't go to your plan, but it's there because it's going to give your insurers an idea of that what you're talking about. The SRA didn't ask to see mine, luckily, but they can. But I think it's just about starting. There's always a lot of questions about whether you pay someone to do it or not, and you can do, but I think it would be probably quite expensive at a time when your budget's going to be quite restrained, because you're going to want to keep. You don't want to blow your budget before the SRA have said yes. And that's the one thing that I've always found quite painful about law firms is that you can do so much work, and until the SRA actually give you the green light and authorize you, you don't have a business. So you could spend thousands of pounds, as I did up until that point, and somebody might still say no. So it's about getting that balance right and being quite careful. But your business plan, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be 20, 30 pages long. And you will get guidance. And if anybody actually wants the document that my broker sent to me, drop me a message over LinkedIn, or email me, and I'm more than happily share that. It's not anything confidential. I think they would send it to everyone. And then you have to do your application for your PII. And then once you've got your quote, you then send that off to the SRA. But I wouldn't pay for it unless the business you're starting and the structure you're looking to put in place is complex. And in that scenario, probably would seek some advice. But if it's straightforward, just give it a go. Your brokers will come back to you if it's something, you put something in totally crazy that makes you uninsurable.
Okay, thank you, Elena. I'm going to jump to another question and change tack a little bit, because there's quite a lot coming in or have come in. So a good few questions around clients and getting that first client and bringing new clients on board. Natalie, I'll come to you on this question. How did you manage to bring on new clients? How are you managing doing it now? Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I think there's been a question earlier on that it does sit next to it. It was about, when did you feel comfortable taking staff on and recruiting? And it's all about the same topic. It's cash flow, and it's what oxygen do you have and for how long before you need your work in progress to start paying out. Fortunately, we do deal with a number of different areas of law, one of which is conveyancing. And of course, as we all know, this year with stamp duty, it has been oxygen and it has been consistent. So we've been using that and putting the funds back into the business 100% with marketing, growing our personal network, because we work with consultants as well, and support them with all our systems and admin, which is why we've got a HQ. We try to support them in building their personal brand. So it's not just about the firm and us taking all the credit. It's about that individual and their client base and growing their personal network and empowering them. So we have this statement that we say, we help you run your business with us, not for us, because we do essentially have micro businesses within our firm. And that is how even our employed staff, that is how they view things. Yes, it's our risk. Yes, it's our responsibility. But part of running a successful legal practice now is undoubtedly involves business development. And if you haven't got commercial awareness and you aren't aware of where your target, if you have one, comes from, why it's even in place, where you're going to get the next piece of work from, what the local, economic area and the decision making people around the local council, all these things that impact on where new business can come from. It is your business and your staff's business to make themselves aware. But we've never done that before. It's very difficult to all of a sudden, be that and a fee earner, because they are two extremely different roles. So I'm really passionate about empowering people and making them feel confident enough to put themselves out there, get the right attendees, to have the right quality conversations, etc. That is where clients come from. They come from word of mouth, they come from credibility, being in the right place and in front of the right audience at the right time, in my view.
Brilliant, thank you, Natalie.
Also LinkedIn. LinkedIn's amazing.
Well, I was just going to say, on that note, on LinkedIn, Alistair, I'd come to you. A lot of compliments in the chat on your LinkedIn, on Elena's. All of you actually have very strong social media games. Could you talk a little bit more about why you've focused on specifically LinkedIn?
Yeah, I mean, LinkedIn, I think for me, I think probably for lots of us, LinkedIn has been the sort of biggest channel, social media channel for getting our names out there. For me, I started, it was when I was still at my old firm, but I decided to leave and start this new firm. And my thinking was, look, I don't know how many clients I'm going to be able to bring across at that stage. The worst thing that you can do is sort of start this firm and nobody notices. No one knows that you put up your website. Particularly not having an office or not having a physical presence, you need to have presence somewhere. You need to have an audience. And so I just started posting, and you see lots of on LinkedIn, there are loads of people that tell you how to do it. And there's some great advice out there about how to, things like, what to post, what works well, what times to post, and just experimented. I just started sort of posting a bit. And because we couldn't actually talk about the new firm, I was talking about the sort of values or thoughts we've had or how we could improve things. And some of those things seem to strike a nerve with people. And you find, I was getting to know people on LinkedIn, and I think I would say it's for me, it's been like a networking thing rather than a pure marketing thing. It's the people that I've got to know through that, who then you go on to have chats with, and you get to know them, and then they might recommend people to you. But LinkedIn, I think, is by far the best channel to be on generally, because firstly, there are people on there who are all professionals or of some sort. They're you know, they're people who are there for business, so they're you know, open to that conversation. You know what they do. You can find the people you want to reach. But secondly, it's just having a bit of a moment. I think in the last year, it's exploded. It's got a lot more interesting, and there's a lot of people, particularly in law, who don't post very much. So those that do and post something interesting, which generally tends to be fairly light-hearted, you know, personal, sometimes a bit about what you're doing, but not salesy, then that will get traction. And you know, it's definitely worth doing. I think if you're thinking about starting a firm, then I would just say dive in, because you really have to have that profile somewhere, and you need to overcome the kind of the fear, I suppose. And particularly for lawyers, we hate putting things in writing, don't we? And we unless we have to, and then we worry that it's not accurate or it's not. And so to actually just, you know, post something that's personal and, you know, might be laughed at or might be disagreed with, that does generate a fair bit of anxiety. But I think you do really have to get through that.
I still post and delete. I post and then I get like nervous and I think, oh, that was so stupid, and then I delete it, and it's just dumb. I should just leave it there.
Yeah, depends what it is.
And how much Prosecco I've had.
Kim, when it comes to your to Vinelaw's social media, are you managing it? Is there someone else in your team managing it primarily? Who came up with the Lego, you know, posts?
I don't know who came up with the Lego. So we have a lady who helps us with social media. She does. She's an outside person, and we met her through a friend before we started, and so we just asked her to help us do a little bit of social media to start with. She's really great. I think the Lego came from Melinda. I think that came from my partner initially, but it went around a WhatsApp group, and it was like, haha, like we should do something like this. And then we gave it to Gemma, and she just went, actually, yes, let's do it. And she just started making a whole bunch of them. So she's responsible for all of that, really.
Right, and that's again tying back to that confidence piece of knowing, like not knowing and then just going with it. And
yeah, because you think, oh, you know, if we do something like that, we won't be taken seriously, you know. But why? You know, and we try and strike that balance between not making legal problems a joke, because they're not. You know, that's not what it's about. You know, but it's more that, I guess, the sun is really shining my face. I think it's more that real life is like that, you know, and the law is there to help us, and the law can do a lot for us. It's not something that you just need when, you know, like when you go to the dentist because you've got a hole in your tooth. You know, the starting point is the lives that we live and the things that we want to do with our lives. And the importance of law is that sometimes it helps us do those things. Or if we do get into a pickle, that we have the rules of the game that we can look at and go, oh, what, you know, I forget, what's the offside rule? You know, that's what it's about, really, isn't it? So it's not about making a joke of everything and making and not taking it seriously, but it's about being real and about seeing that as part of real life.
I think that's the thinking, isn't it? You can do both.
Yeah.
Human and have a sense of humour, but then still be professional, even when wearing ridiculous sparkly jumpers.
And having the sun shining in your face.
And having the sun shining and wearing a Santa hat. And, you know, it does, I think there's been a huge humanising of the industry in the last 18 months. And we've all seen it. We've seen it on LinkedIn, the whole, this isn't Facebook warriors, you know, well, just come off LinkedIn then if you don't like it. You know, there is an answer. It's an amazing time to be in this industry. And I feel really privileged to have been able to start a business that is so heavily regulated. You know, it's a real privilege, isn't it? We are dealing with people's lives. And when we facilitate those changes in ways that they couldn't have unraveled on their own, it's hugely rewarding. I mean, particularly, I imagine, Eleanor, the sort of work you deal with when people's lives has quite literally changed through no fault of their own, to get somebody a package or a settlement that allows them to be cared for must be unreal.
Yeah, no, it is, but I think where I've been doing it for so long, it's just a continuation of what I was doing before. It's different, but also the same. So you tap into all those years of knowledge and all those years of experience. And until I started this business, I really thought that I'd seen it all, especially in personal injury. Starting this business, I've realized that I've seen nothing. So you still have. So one of the things that I think is quite important to maybe convey in sessions like this is when you do start your own business, I think everybody has that fear. It's a bit of imposter syndrome, but also there's the very, very real fear of you coming across a scenario that you've never dealt with. So for me, this has actually happened to me more than I would have liked it to. And it's actually building that network where, again, it goes back to LinkedIn, you know, of having people that you can ask those questions, run something by them, and have that network really of support, whether it's barristers, other solicitors, whether it's people who have been lawyers or have, you know, got their own businesses. That's quite important, because really and truly, I think it was Kim that mentioned, you know, it takes a village to help run a business, and it really, really does. You can't do it alone. You need that support, whether it's of friends, of family, of pets, of whoever it is. That support network is going to be vital. And you know, you just have to be comfortable knowing that you are going to have scenarios, you are going to be asked questions by clients that you don't know the answer to, and it's not going to be a case of, oh, let me just pop you on hold and ask someone, or let me check with my boss or with my manager, because you are the boss and you are the manager. And in that scenario, it completely changes, and you've actually got to say, I actually need to look this up and confirm what the position is in respect to this, especially with me being a personal injury solicitor and having the reforms and having to learn a new, you know, new rules and how to run RCA personal injury cases now. It's like you get a call and you just don't know the answer to some of these questions, and it changes, and it's about being comfortable with that change and actually embracing those new challenges, because when you start a business, it's unlike anything you've ever done before or you ever probably will do again.
I think that's okay though. It's okay not to know.
Yeah.
That what these clients are paying us to do is to find out and apply the law to their situation. Yeah. The facts are always going to be different, aren't they? But especially in commercial, you know, every single transaction is different. Every single transaction costs differently because it's completely bespoke. But that's kind of what I love about it as well, because the mundaneness of doing the same time and time again, you know, I don't think we'd be lasting very long, would we? We'd be falling asleep.
Well, on that note, I'd like to switch a little bit, and we've only got 4 minutes left, but quickly just to 2022, to year 2, to year, I was going to say year 2.5 for you, Natalie. You've been going for almost 1.5 years now, so you're a few months ahead of the rest of them with your firm. Would like to change track and just some of the goals, I guess, for next year. Do a quick around the room. So I'll come to Kim first, if that's okay.
I mean, there's still that element of like, I just want to survive. Like we just want to, like, we've got through year 1, let's go through year 2, because in some ways I think year 2 seems more scary, because you've got through the year 1, you've got through the setup, and this is crunch time, you know, this is crunch time. So I'm going to say survive. It'll be fine.
Survive and be fine. Ella, I'll come to you next. You're next on my screen.
Yeah, so I've got my office space. I'll hopefully be ready in Easter to recruit really sooner than that. At the beginning of, once Christmas and New Year's, that is out of the way. And then if I can get through year 1, I can probably get through most years in business. So, yeah.
Brilliant. And Alistair, I'll come to you next.
So we've got a new solicitor joining us at the end of January, and a consultant as well, which is really exciting. So kind of just building the team. We've got we're launching a subscription package, which we're already doing with existing clients, but we're making that public just as soon as I can update the website. And so just more of the same, really. Just growing and keeping learning, I guess. There's we've learned so much in year one, and I think, you know, obviously there's a lot more to learn as well.
Yeah, you just said keeping going and staying sane, but you've listed out quite a few new things there that seem very exciting, so I'll be keeping an eye out for those. Natalie, come to you next. What's on the plans?
Well, professionally, business plan, we are launching our Leeds Hub after Christmas. So we have a partner who's leaving their existing firm to join us because she's got vision and wants to build her own business with us. So we're very, very pleased to have them on board. We're also looking at doing a similar model in London too. We've got some consultants that have joined our firm down there that do niche work, IP and various. But in terms of the kind of broader, we're investing an awful lot in legal tech this next year. So we're going to be focusing more on various different currencies, what the regulation is around that, and how we can support kind of the crypto market and what that means for us practically as a firm. So we're just putting our ducks in a row with that. And I turned 40 in July, so I'm absolutely determined to be 2 stone lighter by July. It's not going to happen, it never does, but you know. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Wow, that's exciting. Wow, lots of fantastic plans in place. We're at 12 noon. I'm going to just quickly share my screen very briefly. And you should all be seeing my screen now. So just, yeah, quickly wanted to mention that this series is coming to an end, but we have all of the recordings on our hub, the Making of a Law Firm hub on our website. So you can find that in the resources section on the clio.com/UK site. My colleague Erica will share a link as well. So I know there's lots of folks on the call that are thinking about starting up a firm or have just done it and would like to go back and catch up on some of the resources and topics that we deeper dived into. We just highlighted today, I guess. I also want to just quickly thank all of our experts who joined us throughout 2021, many of who kindly joined us on the line today. So we had Paul McCluskey from Gemstone Legal. He joined us for a session on tips on funding and financing your law firm. Lee Catling, who's on the line today as well, joined us for a session all about professional indemnity insurance, applying and reapplying. So I know that's always a hot topic. Rachel Holmes from Orion Legal Marketing joined us for a session on website marketing and basics for startups when it comes to marketing. That was a fantastic session. We did an interactive, I think it was with Elena and Alistair. Rachel went through their website and gave them some tips live. Tanya Kuturi, who's joined us again this morning, and Tanya joined us twice during the year with sessions on leadership and courage, and last month as well on time management. So really that inward looking, those inward looking sessions on for business owners. So just really fantastic sessions there. We had Dwayne Cormel joined us from Realm Recruitment, all about recruiting, obviously. Amelia Surdell joined us for personal branding, and Scott Simmons joined us from Legal Balance, all about embracing that inner salesperson, as Natalie mentioned earlier, and becoming a rainmaker. So really thank you to all our experts for joining us throughout the year. You can catch their sessions as mentioned on the hub. And finally, thank you so much again to our 4 leaders, Kim, Natalie, Elena and Alistair. Your support, openness, honesty and leadership over the past year has been really inspirational. We at Clio are hugely grateful, and I know there are so many people, so many countless fellow practitioners that you've helped this year too. I can't wait to see what you do in 2020, and I know it will be amazing given the year you've just had. So thank you to everybody for joining us. Thank you to our leaders, and have a very safe and festive Christmas everywhere.
Before you log off, Geraldine, huge thank you to you.
Yeah.
Because it's been a very anxious time for all of us in various different ways, and you've been a constant. You're fabulous at your job. You're a wonderful person, and I'm very pleased to have met you. So thank you very much.
What you won't all know is that behind the scenes, Geraldine is really, really supportive, particularly in that WhatsApp group that we were talking about. So massive thank you.
Cleo, you're very lucky to have her.
You're amazing.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day, and talk to you in 2022.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye. Bye. Bye.